Hi, everybody. A beautiful night tonight, right? Tonight we present a concert for band and cicada. In about an hour from now, we'll ask you to vote on who won, the band or the cicadas. My name is Jonathan Lehrer, and I will be your host tonight for our program. It's a great program. This program tonight is Marches from Around the World. And if you think about around the world, that's kind of a long distance. And we may ask you to walk around the world in concert with the band and the marches. I'll explain that a little bit more later. Some preliminary notes before we get started. First of all, we welcome you to the final concert of the Summer Festival of Music presented by the Mount Prospect Community Band. And our special guest soloist tonight is John Bruce Yeh. He's the assistant principal clarinet of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. The Mount Prospect, yes, please give John Bruce Yeh a hand. You'll hear him in just a few minutes. The Mount Prospect Community Band is celebrating its 42nd season this year. They must be very tired, but full of vigor for you. And of course, you know the band is a program of the Mount Prospect Park District. The Mount Prospect Park District would like to thank the Mount Prospect Community Band for an outstanding summer festival of music. The district is committed to offering a variety of programming that serves all of the patrons of the Park District. Thank you also to Music Director Monty Adams. You'll see him in just a moment. The district looks forward to more wonderful music presented throughout the fall and holiday concerts. We also thank our generous sponsors this evening, Novak and Parker, Green White Soccer, and North Shore University Health Systems. Those great sponsors are supporting our concert series, as well as the Park District's Thursday night concert and event program. Now, especially, we'd like to tell you that we are thanking Nothing Bundt Cakes, located at Randhurst Village. They, as you probably know, they offer delicious cakes that don't compromise on ingredients, real eggs, butter, and cream cheese for a perfectly decadent bite. Not exactly sure what that means, but use your imagination. You may enjoy a free sample tonight or purchase a bundlet or two for a wonderfully tasty treat. Where is the Nothing Bundt Cakes? So right over there. Hello. Great. I see you've got a good supply for us tonight. Great. So that will be great. And just a couple of other notes. Tonight's programs that you should have in your hands now are stuffed with memorial brick order forms. And those forms give you information on how to purchase a brick to be added to the beautiful Veterans Memorial and Fountain. You probably know members of the Parks Foundation are on hand tonight to answer questions about the brick purchases as well as the work of the foundation. You may not know, but now you will know, that the foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, began in 1997, and it serves the fundraising arm, it is the fundraising arm of the Park District. Its purpose is to enhance the quality of the parks, facilities, and recreation opportunities by raising funds through tax-deductible donation. So I have 3 words for you: donate, volunteer, and remember. Your support is the foundation of our future. And finally, thanks to our crew over here, thank you to the Park District Cultural Arts Manager, Ann Zimmerman, and our sound technician, Chris Lufus, and the concert setup team for helping us tonight. And special thanks also to John Reschke, the president of the band. Let's hear a hand for all those good people. And now I would like to invite you to stand and join in singing as Monty Adams leads the Mount Prospect Community Band in our Star-Spangled Banner. And after playing our Star-Spangled Banner, our national anthem, celebrating America, we begin our Around the World concert, actually in London, England. And the first piece we're going to play tonight is the Knightsbridge March. It's written by Eric Coates. He was born in 1886, and in 1933 he wrote this piece that you're about to hear. It was part of a suite called the London Suite, became very popular, and this is the last movement of that suite we'll be playing tonight. And something you might not know, that music has been used for a long time by the BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, as the theme song for their radio program called In Town Tonight. Something else you might want to know about Eric Coates, the composer, he was actually very well admired by Sir Edward Elgar, who was a much more famous English composer. So here's Monty Adams now and the Mount Prospect Community Band to play Knightsbridge March.
Boy, isn't this the perfect night to be outdoors listening to a band concert? Yeah. So I don't usually make announcements, but I'm going to do this anyway. This next piece, you don't have to be a clarinetist to enjoy this next piece. It's by Karl Maria von Weber. Excuse me. He was a German composer, one of the first significant composers marking the beginning of the Romantic musical era. His clarinet concertino is in a way kind of like a mini opera for clarinet. You'll hear lots of drama, memorable singing melodies, and exciting flourishes at the end. The reason I'm making this announcement is because our soloist is a good friend of mine for many, many years. And he's also somebody I consider to be a musician's musician. In 1977, at the age of 19, John was hired for the bass clarinet position with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. Soon after that, Sir George Schulte appointed him to the position of assistant principal clarinet, a position that he holds to this day. So finally, after all these years of practice and preparation, he's ready to make his debut with the Mount Prospect Community Band. Please welcome John Bruce Yeh.
That's a great piece of music, and John, you of course did a great job with it. I have to tell you, as a member of the clarinet section of Niles North High School in Skokie, Illinois, a couple of years ago, several years ago, all of my buddies were playing that piece, that and the Mozart clarinet concerto. I thought it would be a great thing to play that piece myself. Then I found out you have to practice, which apparently you have in great amounts. I also found out that the people who practice, maybe they could be music majors in college. The rest of us became announcers. So from Bavaria, where that piece was debuted, to Italy, and our march around the world, we're going to hear music now by the Italian composer David Della Chesi. And the piece is called L'Inglesina, otherwise known in English as the Little English Girl. Now, a little story about David Della Chesi. He worked in the Italian War Office in World War I, and he was a musician there, 26 years old, and for some reason he took it upon himself to score all of the national anthems for band, all the national anthems that he could find. It took him 3 years to do that. While the war was raging, he's writing national anthems. And after he finished his military service, he led bands throughout Italy, composed more than 400 works, and if you have time for it, we might be able to get all 400 in, but we'll start with this one, The Little English Girl. That was The Little English Girl, and with a piece like you just heard, sometimes I wonder how little she actually was. But I have never seen any pictures of her. You are a great audience, and I can tell you're you're being very intense on the music. You know what's going on. You're beating your feet. Last audience that I announced for, not so much. And it was similar to this. It was an all-march thing, and I started announcing one of the marches and explaining that, marching bands, and they march. And the audience was so enthused by that half of them got up and marched away. This band would never do that because they would wait for the director to say, okay, go ahead and march away. But they're staying here, and you're staying here, and you're doing so for the official march of the Belgian paratroopers. That's what we're playing next, and that has become a standard in the march repertoire, and that is known as a European walking march. I don't know, when I was in marching band, if you were walking, they'd throw you out of the band, but I guess in Belgium that was what they did there. And just a little bit about the composer. His name was Pierre Limon, and in World War I, his commander said, hey, Pierre, how about you write a piece of music for the Belgian paratroopers? And Pierre said something along the lines of, yeah, well, I'll get around to it. He never did. Until in World War II, he was hanging around with the paratroopers, and somebody said, hey, Pierre, how about writing us a march? And he thought, oh, you know what, I actually started a march in World War I. Maybe I should get back to that. And he went home, wrote out all the parts for the piece, and it is those parts that he wrote that the band will be playing from now, not the authentic parts, but copies of them, in the March of the Belgian Paratroopers. Now, I told you a little while ago that if we were to march to all of these marches, we'd be doing a lot of walking. And I know you're just sitting there wondering exactly how many steps we're taking. So let's assume that we marched around the world. The circumference of the Earth is about 25,000 miles. The number of steps in a mile, but believe me, I actually figured this out. The number of steps in a mile, about 2,000 steps. That means the total number of steps around the Earth is about 50 million steps. And then I looked at Stars and Stripes Forever. And there's about 400 beats or march steps in Stars and Stripes Forever, which means if we were going to march to Stars and Stripes Forever around the entire circumference of the Earth, we would be playing Stars and Stripes Forever approximately 125,000 times. I hope you enjoy it. In any case, we're going to march, if you want to walk, we're going to march now from Belgium to Austria, and we're going to perform for you the Radetzky March. That was composed by Johann Strauss. What do we know Johann Strauss? What was he famous for, Johann Strauss? Waltzes. But we're playing a march. It's in 2, it's not in 3. He first performed this in 1848, and the thing you want to probably know about the Radetzky March is it's the last piece of music played every year at the New Year's concert of the Vienna Philharmonic. So here's Monty Adams and the Mount Prospect Community Band, Radetzky March.
We interrupt our regularly scheduled program now. First of all, in your programs, you should have, some of you may have a star after Monty Adams' name in the program. And I think it's a gold star. And if you do, you win a Mount Prospect Park District picnic blanket roll. So raise your hand if you have one. There's one over here. And our lovely and talented assistants will come out. But that's not what I'm really up here for. A member of our band recently informed us that he will not be returning to our band after tonight. Ordinarily, that may not be unusual. However, this member has about 40 years of service with the band. He has traveled with us to England, France, Italy, making new friends along the way and probably scaring a few of the ladies there as well. He is, by far, our largest ticket seller for all of our formal concerts. He routinely sells 50, 60 or more tickets to our concerts. And I don't know what we're going to do without him, but we need all your help for that. He's also a longtime member of the band board. So Peter Jacoby in our trombone section, can you please stand up? And Peter, don't be a stranger to any of our concerts. You and your family will always have complimentary tickets to all of our concerts in the spring and the fall. And we will certainly miss you very much. In your honor, well, we'll give you 5. In his honor, we're going to play 76 trombones. So band, I hope you all have it up. And we're going to play 76 trombones for Peter Jacoby.
You know, when you think about a community band, this is what you think about, how important it is to the community to see the volunteers play with so many years of service and so much dedication. So let's give the entire community band and all the community bands in the country a hand. I'm glad you still have some feeling in you, because we're going to march now from River City, Iowa, where that song was played, to Romania, and music by a Norwegian composer, Johan Halvorsen. So he wrote this piece which we're about to play, the Entry March of the Boyars. He was a Norwegian guy, and he became interested in Bucharest and the boyars, who were basically high-ranking people throughout Europe between the 10th and 17th century. They must be very tired. Okay, I can use the same joke twice, right, in one evening? All right, maybe I'll find a third time to do it. In any case, so he wrote this piece. It's about the entry of these big deal guys into Bucharest. It's called The March of the Boyars. By the way, not Chef Boyardee. That's a whole different thing. Those boyars are pretty cool people, I think. One of these days I'll run into one. So now we're going to march again. This time we're going to march from Bucharest to Russia. Music of Tchaikovsky, very famous music. It's called the March Slav, also known as the Serbo-Russian March, or the Slavic March. He wrote it in 1876. Now, there was a little politics going on at that time. I'm sure that comes as a big surprise to you. In Russia at that time, there were a lot of pro-Slavic feelings. And so Tchaikovsky put this together as kind of a nationalistic song, music, full of references to Russian and Serbian folk music. And we should tell you that towards the end, you're going to hear the Russian national anthem, God Save the Tsar. If you think that sounds familiar, that's because it's also at the end of 1812 Overture. We were going to play 1812 Overture tonight, but the cannons apparently are still in Buffalo Grove. They can keep the cannons, right? So here is March Slav. I should also tell you, by the way, that this was used in the Slavonic March, the part of Aladdin. Walt Disney's Aladdin, you know what I'm talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's just hear March Slav. You've been a great audience, and thank you for not marching away in the middle. I think it's time, Monty, do you agree that it's time to march back to the U.S.? Absolutely. You guys ready to march back to the U.S.? Yeah. Thank you all for coming. Here's one last march.